Today we're making more woodland Christmas DIYs. Keep watching. I'm Brandy and this is Making It My Own DIYs. Welcome back. The first project will be a bird hanger. So here's my little inspiration, my sticker. This is from Temu. Beautiful little bird on a pine cone. Love it. This I got at the thrift store. And it looks like it came from Target originally, but you can find these little DIY kits at Dollar Tree, something similar. You know, you can get the inspiration, right? So they have the ceramic middle piece where the bird will go. It also comes with two of these little diamond-shaped wood pieces, a tassel, and a length of like rope or something that looks like it's like faux leather. It also has very good directions on the back, and I'm just keeping it here so I can assemble it correctly. I'm going to take him off of here. I didn't need any special preparation because there's no coating on here. It's just like a clay type texture, so it's very rough. I didn't need to clean it with alcohol. If you have shiny pieces, go ahead and clean it with alcohol first so you don't have fingerprints and stuff that keep your adhesive from sticking your two pieces together. Once I've got him in the right position, I'm just going to press it down with my fingers, and then it's got a really good grip, so I didn't even bother using a squeegee on it. No bubbles, everything went great. I'm going to use my antiquing wax and a stiff brush. I don't have really small chippy brushes, so I'm just using this. It's kind of like a stencil brush. I'm just going to use this and offload most of that wax onto that piece of plastic under there. And then I'll just start flicking it all around the edges and build up gradually to the depth of shadowing that I like. It's very difficult to take this off on a porous surface if you get too much on. So, you know, if you are very certain the first time you lay that brush down, then more power to you. But for me, I don't always trust my hands, so I just like to build mine up. I'll go all around the edges, and then you can also go around the sides too if you want to do that. So if you can't find a kit like this, you can always find two wood pieces and a piece of wood maybe to go in the center. You could just do all wood. Drill you some holes in here and make your own. You can use twine or jute, anything that you like to connect your pieces together. And, you know, you can make a tassel or you can leave the tassel off. Totally up to you. Now you can see here how I'm just building it more and more toward the center. And then going over the edges just a little, just to give you an idea. Then I'll start dragging it inward, but I don't want to get it too close to the edge of that sticker because then you'll see that white outline, and I don't want that on this particular project. So I've just sped this up just a touch, just to keep you from being bored with me. And I will go all around here, just giving it some shadow. Continuing along with that aged look, we're going to do that on the wood pieces as well. And I am putting this down. Now the wood is sanded, very well sanded. It may actually be coated with something. I couldn't feel it to really know for sure. But yeah, I just went ahead and got a little more heavy-handed with this. I'm more comfortable with this because it's already a darker shade because it's wood. And then the little circling in the middle was just kind of fading it into the to the middle, so there's not any really harsh lines there. And I'll just keep on going. You know, in nature, there are shadows everywhere. And I think I try to keep that in mind when I'm doing crafts that are nature inspired, that there are always shadows and there are always different depths and coloring in wood and different, and even in leaves and stuff like that, you know. In our birds too. So I like to kind of copy nature, kind of go along with it. No fighting it, right? I've got an artificial branch here, but you can use something right out of your yard if you want. And I'm just going to cut the little pieces off of this pick to use on these two little diamond pieces. And I've got two little pieces of pine cones, and they just came out of a bag of scatter from Dollar Tree, just in the regular sections. It's not holiday type thing, but they probably have some for holidays too. I have not looked at any Dollar Tree stuff that's Christmas related yet. Have not been. It's been so busy here at my house. It's busy this time of year anyway, so Yeah, I haven't even been in Dollar Tree looking for it. Isn't that something? I'm gonna have to get out. I'm really gonna have to get out. All right, so I'm gonna trim down this other piece to make it look, because it was kind of in the middle, to make it look a little bit like a pointed leaf, so it looks like, or not a leaf, you know what I mean, the needles, so that they look like the end of the branch. And similar to the other piece. Not twins, but maybe distant cousins, right? Kind of like how I say my eyebrows are. They're definitely not twins. Not even sisters. They're definitely not speaking to each other, whatever's going on up there. Okay, so now I'm just going to use a little hot glue and put these pieces down. I am kind of reflecting what's already going on in that sticker that I used. That beautiful bird sticker. And I'm just going to add pieces down here. Now, if you don't have that bird sticker, what else could you do? You could use a stencil. You can cut out of a beautiful card. Maybe there's a gift card that you have that, not a gift card, you know what I mean. A card that's beautiful that you love. Go ahead and just kind of cut around there, and then you can use your Mod Podge and attach it down. There's so many ways to do things that you never have to do it exactly like me. You can do it any way you like. Make it your own. That's what this channel is all about. Make it your own. Find some joy in your crafting, in your creations, in your artistry. Find some joy in your life. Okay, so now that my pieces are done and dried, I am going to connect them together. I'm just cutting not any specific length here. This is probably maybe 5 inches. I have to have enough there to start with so that I can make the knots. So I've got to have enough room to get my fingers around that piece of string to make it into a knot. And then I'll just glue the knot onto the back of the pieces so they won't move around, and just give it a little a little more security so it doesn't slip out. And then I'll trim off the little bit of excess that I have left. I've already done that on the top. And now we'll go down to the bottom piece, and I want to make sure that my knots are on the back, so I'm going through the back to put those on. Tie it down, add a little glue, and then pull it right into the glue to keep it in place. And like I said, you don't have this, don't worry about it. Use a very thin ribbon, use baker's twine, you could even use colored jute. And maybe you don't like the woodland theme. You can use this inspiration and do something glam, you know. You could do something farmhouse with something like this. Definitely. You could do something boho. Whatever you like. So if you can't get something through, use a needle or something. I just grabbed the end of a piece of that pick that I cut off. It's got a point on it, and just help push that right through that hole. Because it can be frustrating trying to, and I didn't even have my glasses on, y'all. I don't know what I was thinking. I was in a rush and excited to be able to go see my oldest son. I went and spent the weekend with him and his wife, and it was his birthday weekend, and we had a lot of fun. I love all 4 of my babies, all of them, and they'll always be my babies. Okay, so now you got the idea. You don't want to glue it to the table, so be sure your glue is dry before you flip it over. And then I'm just going to make a very simple tie for the top. Go in the bottom, pull it to the top. I'll tie a double knot here. You could call it a square knot. I'm not even entirely sure that's what it is, but it doesn't slip once you get it tied. And then I will add some glue on it, on the back, kind of drape it around there. There we go. Pull it around so it's flat on the back and you don't see that knot. And then everything looks nice and neat from the front. You could always use this in your Christmas tree if you wanted. You could hang it in the place of a wreath. You could hang it on a thin wall, a skinny wall. How beautiful would this be at maybe an assisted living facility where you could, where they have their little doors and put their little decorations up? It would be such a quick and easy, I think, way to just send a little love to somebody who might not get told every day, you know? We kind of take for granted when we get a hug from our grandbaby or from our kids that some people don't see their children. And it's holiday season. Share the love. If y'all got too many crafts just sitting around, take them to the nursing home. Take them to a rehab facility, to a women's shelter. Those people love things like this. It's such a sweet sentiment. And this is how this one is looking. Thank you to all my members. You guys mean the world to me. I just love y'all. I also love all my subscribers and viewers. The next is a mushroom ornament. We're going to use a little bit of moss. An ornament from Dollar Tree. Be sure that it's the type that has the screw-off lid. A little faux branch. I pulled this out of an old wreath. And then these came from Hobby Lobby on clearance, on fall clearance or sale. A little wood piece. Okay, now, so we're going to start to assemble this somewhat. I went ahead and grabbed this because it looks like it has pebbles or like rounded pieces, so I just went with that. But you could certainly glue your moss down there if you would like. Protect your fingers though, because moss is thin and you will burn yourself. I'm going to make sure this is right in the center so I can still screw the top down. So now, see there? Perfect. We still have a little gap though, but we're going to address that. I've got some, I believe this is my English ivy. It's just a dark green color. And I'm going to put it right around over the silver in there so that you won't see it. It'll kind of blend out, create a little bit of a shadow, and you won't be able to see that. Much better, much better. Now, I'm going to put my mushroom in there and see how high I want it to be and if it's going to fit. These are foam, so they're easy to cut, so that's what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to trim off a little. And then if you take the ends of these particular ones from Hobby Lobby, you can pinch them down and they look, strangely enough, like they would when they were actually picked out of the ground. It's really strange, but they dimple nicely and fold whenever you use them with, just use your fingers, kind of pinch them, and they'll have that nice look. So I'm going to take a little bit of glue and I'll put it down in that moss pebble, and I will put some right on the bottom of here and hold it for just a bit. Take your time, hold it, it's going to take a minute to set up. Cool temp glue is going to be your best friend for a project like this. And then I'm going to take I'm going to throw it across the table because that's what I do. I'm going to add just a little bit of these little pieces of branch here. If you see a mushroom in the ground and they grow, they just push up whatever is around it. It doesn't matter. They can push a rock up if they want to. They push up leaves, they push the dirt up, they push up branches, and I love the thought of this just coming up right around the branches. So now I'm going to make sure that everything fits, and of course do that before you glue anything. Make sure it fits, just keep putting the lid back on. And now we're going to make a base for this, because I'm not particularly happy with the fact that, one, it's silver, and two, it looks way too small for this upside down. So for me, I'm just going to go ahead and make a different bottom so that you won't even be able to tell this had a silver top on it at all. I've got it glued down, making sure that this wood slice is big enough for me to put some of this moss on. And then I'll just be tucking some moss right into the glue. I'll go up on the lid. That's going to help keep everything stuck together also. A little more security. And then I'll just start taking that and pushing it in. Y'all, please protect your little pinkies, your little fingers, okay? Protect your fingers. Like I was in a rush and I didn't do that, but yeah. No permanent damage to the fingertips. I can still feel everything, and I'm pretty sure the cops could find me if they were to lift any prints. I'm pretty sure I'm good as that, as far as that goes. Now I'm going to just continue around, all the way around, and tuck this moss in. You can use brown moss, you can use sheet moss, whatever you want to use for this. I like the idea of using this loose moss because it hangs off and it looks like, like maybe it actually grew this way. Of course, a jar wouldn't grow in nature, but you get what I'm saying. So far, so good. I like the look of this. This is pretty, but you could trim yours off if you wanted. Now, I don't like the idea of having the silver top, so I'm just going to take the same green paint that I used already, and I'm going to put that on here. And to make it easier on myself, I saved a little brush handle, like from a foam brush, a little pouncer, and I just put a little hot glue on there so that I could hold this while I paint it, and then I could set it down into something and have the lid dry, which is perfect, or the little cap there. So it's going to be green, And then I won't be putting that little hangy part back in there. Not going to use that. We're going to try something else. So once it's dry, I'm going to take a little bit of jute and I'll use that in here. You can push these pieces out. They kind of, they're in individual little pieces. Like, I don't really know how to explain that, but you know what the tops look like on ornaments. They have to be able to flex open so that they can fit over the top of the ornament. So you can push those out a little bit to use to your advantage if you want to add something that has bulk, like a piece of string or something. And then you still get the perfect fit. So you just add a little bit of glue in there and you slip the top on, making sure that it's even when it hangs. And we achieve that. And it'll stay in place. Now, you know me, I'm going to add some more because that's how I do things. I'm going to add some more right onto the top, and then I'm going to add some more on the other side. But you can skip this part. Definitely can skip it. You can wrap jute all the way around the top instead of putting a hanger on there if you wanted to. You could just use this as a sitting piece, and you can also use this like on a tiered tray if you do tiered trays. Think of all the options, all the different colored mushrooms, the different colored moss. You could just make a variety of these and hang them off of your tree, and I think they would be lovely. Yes, I'm liking it so far, but I'm going to grab some little pine cones and add those too, because these are not just woodland, but they're woodland holiday pieces. So, you know, our mind goes to pine trees and fir and conifers and things like that, so I want to use the pine cones here just to give it more of a little wintry look. You know, not everybody gets snow for winter. Some people have very cold winters with no snow at all, so you wouldn't see snow and frost necessarily on the winter pieces. We got to think about everybody, don't we? Don't worry, I'll be having some snowy things too. No worries. I love this, and I hope y'all love it too. The next is going to be a feather tree. I have seen these before. I saw these on Pinterest and thought they were so cute, and I had feathers, so I thought, well, why not? Let's just do it. It's perfect for this theme. So we'll need a cone, we'll need something to cut the cone with, we'll need jute of some size, we'll need feathers, and I'm going to use some floral pins. But you can also use like sewing pins, something to hold onto the foam. I got all these beautiful feathers. Now I'm going to trim this down. I don't want to make one large. I want to make it kind of small. If you wanted to make a large one, you could. You certainly could if you have enough feathers. But say you don't, and maybe you got your feathers in a small bag. I'm going to show you how you can make something smaller. But you can definitely do pretty much anything on a larger scale if you have the pieces. So I just cut that down, and then I kind of sanded the bottom to make it even against the other piece. We're going to use some wood pieces, a round and then some little wood pieces from Dollar Tree. This is about 7 inches to give you an idea of how tall this is. I am going to take a little piece of this jute. Now, I mean, not jute, this is burlap. My Lord, people, where's my head today? This I got from burlapfabric.com, but you can get yours anywhere. I'm just using this width of this ribbon because it's so wide I don't have to use as much and make so many turns, right? I'm trying to make it easy on myself. But if you want to use the ones you get from Dollar Tree, you can do that too. The idea of this, because it won't be showing, is that if you put things onto a piece of foam, they are probably not going to stick, they're just going to melt the cone. Well, if you wrap it with some type of a fabric or paper first, then you can put the glue on that and it will work. Make sense? Okay, good. So if you don't have burlap, just grab some paper. You can even use the craft paper from Dollar Tree. Maybe you could use some paper towels from home. Who knows? I'm going to cut this off, leaving about 1/4 inch on the bottom. Does not have to be perfect. You know, and the fact that I got a little nude spot there that doesn't have any burlap on it, not a problem. You'll see. Now just use the pins to hold it in place until I can add a little bit of glue where the fabric touches fabric. Okay? So that way it's not necessarily right on top of the foam. If you put too much on there though, it will go into your foam, but I'm just using little little pieces, little dots of it, and just kind of smearing it around and pushing it together. And it has stayed perfectly. Then I'll use a tiny little streak of it on the bottom, just enough to flip it under. Give it a little bit more of a finished edge, but it doesn't matter. You can cut it off even if you want, because the feathers are going to extend over that edge to make a nice pretty trim. Alright, so then I'm going to take my feathers and I'm going to put them sort of in categories, the different sizes together, so that as I am layering these upward, I can easily find what I'm looking for. This doesn't take a very long time, but it does save time if you sort of get your feathers together like you want to use them, you know? So I know I want to put the biggest feathers that I have on the bottom. I'm going to use those first. And then as we work up, we'll use smaller and smaller feathers. As you can see on this feather, it has a ton of different patterns. Well, I'm saying a ton, but it has a lot of different patterns in that one feather itself, which makes this turkey feather so beautiful to go in this piece, especially with it being, you know, a woodland piece. For us, we live in Alabama, but we have a farm in Mississippi. So at our farm in Mississippi, there are turkeys running amok out there. We don't get snow very often, and they're all, you know, they're all over the place. So why not take advantage of that coloring and knowing that that's a southern thing? Go ahead and use turkeys. But hey, if you buy red feathers, you can do like a cardinals. If you've got white feathers that you pick up, you can use that for maybe dove. Make it, you know, just really pretty. So what I've done here is went from one side to the other side, and then the front and the back with one feather side to side. Then I went over in between each of those pieces and added one feather of a different type over each of those sections. I'm doing this first to make a nice, good, you can see like our little base layer here. And then I'll start working my way up just a little bit. If you want the feathers to be flat, I'm just going to say this, for as far as turkey feathers go, they don't have a lot of curl. So laying them this way, the tree is going to look very slim. If you get feathers that do have some curl, like a duck feather or something like that, you can flip them over so that the curls outward, and that makes a very pretty look as well. It just depends on what kind of feathers that you use. So I'll just go around and around, starting at the bottom and then working my way upward. You get the idea of how this goes. Very easy. You can work in small sections, you can work in larger sections. You can use a little spatula to protect your fingers, or you can use your finger protectors here. Whatever way is the safest for you and gets the job done. I want to make sure that I'm not overlapping the beautiful ends of the feathers because they have like an iridescent bronzy color. So I'm trying to make sure that as I go upward, about ½ an inch of each feather is exposed. So you see all that beautiful iridescence in there. You see so far how it looks? It's got a little bronze, a little greenish color. It's very pretty. They're very, very pretty. If you've ever looked at a bird's feathers, even with a black bird, the feathers from a distance look black, but they're not actually black. There's blue and purple and green, just a variety of beautiful colors. If you ever get a chance to just, you know, look up close at the feathers, they're beautiful. There's really beauty in everything if you just take the time to look. You know, it really is. Now we're going to put a stem on the tree, right here on the bottom. Ooh, the magic word, y'all, is tree. Yes, it is. The magic word is tree. And what I want you to tell me is, what is your favorite tree? Yep. Magic word is tree. What is your favorite tree? All right. So now I'm making sure once I get to the top and everything's nice and smooth, I'm going to cut a feather. I just cut it to be the right size, and I'm going to place it down right over the top so that the burlap doesn't show. And this is what it will look like if you don't want to put anything on the very tip top. Look at that. That's beautiful. So much color. But I'm going to take a baby pine cone and I'm going to make a flower out of the top and put it right on the top. Well, the flower is actually, when you cut it in half, you use the bottom section upside down and it makes a little flower. I just decided to use that, but you don't have to. You can leave it off, or you can put a star on it, or you can put a whole pine cone on it, or, you know, whatever you like. Whatever you like, make it your own. Absolutely love this. The next is going to be a candle round. I'm going to grab some of these moss stones. They came from Temu. These thrifted little mushrooms. This moss mat from Temu. And then a wreath that I already had. Love the size of this wreath and the opening. I've got 3 candles from Dollar Tree, or you can use a flameless candle, whatever you like. I'm going to lay this mat on top, and I'm going to kind of feel with my hands to see how much I'm going to need to overlap so that it touches the table, because I want it to be almost completely to the bottom. Then I'll just take my scissors and cut all the way around. This stuff is so good. This is not a sponsored video, but oof, this moss is amazing. It's not on one of those plastic backs. It's actually kind of a woven texture, so it's going to be great for how we attach it to this piece. All right. Again, I'm pushing with my hands, trying to make sure, almost like when you put a pie crust down on top of your pie, you know, or you put the little top layer on top of the pie. You want to make sure that it reaches the edges and stretch a little bit. I'm trying to make sure that I have enough of a pocket on the inside for later, and I'm going to just feel my way around here, and I know that it is cut where it needs to be. I'm going to use my floral wire to attach this. I'm not going to use hot glue because this is woven. It's going to go through this wire will go through here, disappear into the depths, and will wrap around that wreath very easily. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to poke it through there, get a nice good branch in there, twist it around, and then you can either cut it off or you can push it back up into the wreath because it's not going to get in your way. I'm going to go down a couple of inches. You can go across if you need to, but since I'm not stretching, I can just go side to side. I'll feed that through there, making sure that I catch the moss mat and piece of the wicker from the wreath underneath. Twist it and then push it now. What I'm doing is this is on the underside of it. This is not on the side of it. I don't want to see any of that ugly wire. I just want this to look like this has grown over it. So I'm just going to continue around until I have as much as I feel like I need to keep it steady and in place. Going to do the whole thing. Nice. So now we'll work in the middle. And what I'm doing is pushing with my hands to make sure, again, that it goes all the way down to the table and that it will open up enough that I can put candles in the middle. You can use this technique if you use smaller mushrooms to make a wreath. Totally up to you which way you want to orient this. But my mushrooms were big, and the way I have them sitting, they just don't look right as a wreath. This is definitely for candles. Take the inspiration. Okay, so I'm just cutting a few pieces to make it easier on myself, and you can certainly do this too. Then I'll flip it over and start working on the inside. I'm going to pull it upward. I'm not going to pull too tight though, because I don't want to make gaps in the front. I want it still to look thick and lush and cushiony, like when you're barefoot walking through moss under a big oak tree. Oh, there's nothing like it. I just love it. Okay. Squishing it, pulling it tight, twisting it around, and then poking it back in the wreath. Then I'll make sure that I can put a couple of snips in there when I need to, just to open it up, make it easier on myself, and continue along until every bit of this middle is opened up so we can set our candles on the inside. This is easy to do, y'all. It really is. Look at that. Look at that. Ugh. Okay, so, I like to lay my pieces out first to get an idea. So I'm just taking some of these little moss-covered stones. They're actually just pieces of foam with the fabric on top of them, but they look good, don't they? Now you can put one by itself, you can do some side by side, you can do this evenly if you like that type of a pattern. It's totally up to you. I decided to just kind of work in clumps and work here and there all over the thing in no particular pattern. Just going with your gut. Y'all know what I mean by that, just going with your gut. You get lost in it and you just whatever. So this is another mushroom. I'm just going to trim a little and I'm going to tuck it in there. If I open up a little bit of that mossy mat, it can go right down to the wood underneath, which gives it even more security, which is always a good thing. I'm going to add them here and there. You can also use them to help support your mushrooms if they're big like mine and they want to kind of hang to the side, list a little to the left, list a little to the right. Gives it a little more support. And then, see, this is the big mushroom. I'm trying to push him down in there a little bit more so that it doesn't overwhelm the entire piece. And then I'm going to take these little pine cones, just like we did in the ornament, and I'm going to add them here and there just to add that little hint of winter. And I'm not going to overwhelm it. I'm not going to just go nuts with it. I'm just going to do a little here and there. And you may as well extend it down the sides, because if it's sitting on a table someplace, you want to have something pretty to look at from all angles, right? And you want your guests to see something pretty from all angles. Y'all, this would be such a pretty, really fairly simple thing to make as a gift for someone as well. So I want to show you what it looks like with a single in the middle, just a battery operated candle. Or if you want to use tall candles from Dollar Tree. Now they have to be way taller than your mushrooms. You won't catch anything on fire. Okay, so here are the projects that we did. This is the turkey feather tree. And our beautiful little bird hanger. Y'all, I gotta tell you, I got some friend mail and I was not expecting it, and it was a surprise, and I'm so thankful. You know who you are. I don't know if I can mention your name or not, but bless your heart, you are the sweetest. I am going to put those tools that you sent me to good use. She sent me acorn ornaments, paintbrush kit, and then a bunch of chalk paint brushes. They are beautiful. The quality is stunning. I am just absolutely in love. I can't tell you what a sweet, sweet surprise it was to come home and see that package sitting on my bed. Oh my goodness. Thank you so, so much for that. If you enjoyed this video and the things that we made today, please consider giving me a thumbs up and subscribing to my channel. When you do that, you can hit that notification bell on the side so you don't miss any information that you need from my channel, and you don't miss when we have new videos. Plus, you want to subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss the next time we have a giveaway. We're going to have a giveaway Thursday as well. That's right, it's Subscriber Appreciation Month. So if you want to be part of that, be sure you pay very close attention to the videos, or we will have a magic word and we will have something that you need to answer. I love y'all so much, and I'm so grateful to have y'all, and I'm so happy that it is November so that I can give you all of this love that I have in my heart for you and show you how much I appreciate your support. Thank you so much for stopping by today, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.